All right, let's dive right in. Today we're tackling a topic that can be pretty unsettling, but it's so important for understanding human behavior: manipulative personalities. We're going to look at this through a clinical lens so you can walk away with clear, real-world insights for navigating some of life's most challenging relationships.
Just think about it for a second. Have you ever known someone who can just lie without even flinching, or hurt people without a second thought, and then just charm their way out of it? It's a really confusing and honestly often painful experience. So let's try to unpack what's actually going on behind that mask. Okay, first things first, let's get our terms straight. We hear the word sociopath all the time, right? In movies, on TV, in the news. But what does that word really mean from a clinical psychological perspective? Let's get a nice clear definition.
The key word here, it's consistent. This isn't about someone having a bad day or one selfish moment. No, this is a deep, pervasive pattern. We're talking about a person who basically moves through the world seeing other people not as, well, people, but as objects, either tools to be used or obstacles to be removed.
And this is a really crucial point. While sociopath is the word we all know, mental health professionals use a very specific diagnosis: antisocial personality disorder, or ASPD. Using this clinical framework gives us a much more precise and structured way to identify the exact traits we need to be aware of.
So, now for the practical stuff. How can you actually spot these behaviors in your own life? To help with that, we've put together a red flag checklist, breaking down the key warning signs you should be looking for, all based on clinical criteria. Okay, first up is a profound lack of empathy. It's like they just don't get how you feel. Or maybe worse, they just don't care. This goes hand in hand with manipulation. They are often absolute masters of deception, using charm, flattery, anything to get what they want. You might also notice this pattern of impulsivity, making reckless decisions about money, jobs, relationships with zero thought for the fallout. And all of this is often wrapped up in the superficial charm that can be so disarming when you first meet them.
This next part really gets at what's going on inside. Their emotions can seem incredibly shallow, almost like they're an actor playing a part but can't actually feel the lines they're saying. And when they hurt someone, there's this striking lack of remorse. They'll find a way to justify it, or more often than not, they'll blame the victim. And finally, some can become pretty aggressive, especially when their goals are blocked or they feel like they're being challenged.
So this brings up the big question, right? Why? What's driving all of this? Why do some people behave this way? Now, of course, we can't know for sure in any one case without a professional diagnosis, but research points to a really complex mix of factors.
So, it looks like there's a genetic piece to the puzzle. Things like impulsivity and low empathy can actually run in families. On top of that, cognitively, they often have this distorted view of the world, seeing other people's intentions as hostile or just ripe for exploitation. And all of that is combined with an impaired ability to even feel guilt, which makes it incredibly easy for them to just keep repeating harmful behaviors. Look, if you take away just one single concept from all of this, let it be this one. Everything we've talked about, the lies, the manipulation, the lack of empathy, it all stems from this fundamental, pervasive disregard for a simple fact: other people have rights and feelings that matter. It's like a complete breakdown of that basic social contract we all live by.
And that brings us to what might be the most important part of this whole explainer. If you recognize these patterns in someone in your life, what do you actually do? How do you protect yourself? Let's walk through a clear, step-by-step safety plan. First, educate yourself, which is exactly what you're doing right now. Knowledge truly is power here. Second, you have to set incredibly firm boundaries, and the crucial part is you have to be consistent in enforcing them. Third, focus on direct, clear communication. No hints, no beating around the bush. Fourth, do everything you can to stay calm. People with these traits often thrive on creating emotional chaos, so your stability is a really powerful tool. And fifth, and this is the most important, you must prioritize your physical and emotional safety. If you ever feel threatened, it is time to get professional or emergency help. Period.
Let's just zero in on that communication piece for a second. Using I statements, like saying, "I feel uncomfortable when you do that," is so important. See, it's not an attack, it's just a statement of your reality. And you have to avoid getting pulled into those circular arguments, those endless debates about who's right or wrong. Just state your boundary and move on.
So as we start to wrap up, let's bring the focus back to the single most important person in this entire equation, and that's you. Your well-being has to be the top priority.
This right here is the key. I want this to really sink in. Clear, well-enforced boundaries aren't just a suggestion. They are your most essential tool for self-preservation.
They are what define what is and is not acceptable in your life, and they have to be non-negotiable.
And please hear me on this. Interacting with someone who consistently disregards your feelings is exhausting. It's just draining. It can chip away at your sense of self, at your energy. Prioritizing your own mental and emotional health isn't selfish. It is an absolute necessity for your survival and your recovery.
We've covered a lot of ground, from what to look for to what to do about it, so now you have the awareness. And awareness is the first step to safety. The real question is, what's one thing you're going to do, starting today, to protect your own well-being and enforce your boundaries?